Well, alrighty. So, as promised yesterday, I done told you guys that I was going to go and see Captain America, Brave New World, aka Captain Wakanda America, aka Captain Woke America, aka Captain African America, aka Captain Black America, aka Captain Black Falcon America. Yeah, I went to see it, and before I did, we all shared a moment here where I actually reacted to the last trailer to the movie. And in that trailer, indeed, the MCU told us that tonight Anthony Mackie was going to shine. Why would they be telling us that Anthony Mackie was going to shine? Were we going in there to see Anthony Mackie, or were we going in there to see Captain America? Anyways, you guys, they told us that this movie was going to be thrilling. It was going to be high octane, and that this movie was going to be triumphant and a fresh new start to Captain America. Well, was it any of these things? Well, let's get into it. But before we do that, if you are yet to do so, please do consider smashing the like button down below, and also consider subscribing to the channel. I'm going to be giving my own fresh reviews and my own fresh takes regarding this particular movie after seeing it yesterday. So without further ado, let's get straight into things, shall we? Now, when it comes to the synopsis of this movie, well, everything that you have seen in the trailer sums it all up. We all know from the trailers that Isaiah Bradley took some shots at the President Thaddeus Ross. And at the end of the day, he was caught while he was trying to escape, which to me, that escaping scene happens to be the best part or the better part of the movie, in my own personal opinion, because what Isaiah Bradley did, if he wasn't done by a stuntman, was pretty impressive. For an old guy, he was pretty spry. I think his scenes escaping was actually better than most of the fight scenes that we saw with Anthony Mackie in other parts of the movie. But essentially what we see was that he was caught and he was put in solitary forced confinement, and then they pushed the idea that some of the things that was happening to him was because he was black and he was being discriminated against, and so on and so forth. This led to a rift between Captain America and the president. This is where you see the president telling Captain America from the trailers that he shouldn't get involved in this particular case because he's too close to the case. But of course, you know, Captain America, in the context of this movie at least, he will go and do his thing. Now, if you were expecting espionage from this particular movie, there was no espionage whatever. If you were expecting that the character of Sam Wilson was elevated in any shape or form, they made him smarter. They gave him real serious problem that he needed to brainstorm to solve. They gave him real serious challenges that he needed to fight against. They gave him real serious problem that he had internal wars fighting within him against. There was none of that. All of the things that he faced were easily overcome, either by conversation or by fighting. There was really no much brainstorming. This guy wasn't elevated in any shape or form. Like I've mentioned before, he's a gadget man. He's not somebody who took the serum. He's not super strong like Spider-Man or all these other superheroes. So he's dependent on his suit. At least they could have made him more intelligent to actually be able to do something with his suit. But everything was just handed over to him. His new wings were handed to him by Wakanda. His shield was handed to him by Steve Rogers, and everything was handed to him. His uniform was handed to him by the military. So there was nothing that came from him himself. Everything was handed to him. He didn't earn any single thing. So I really didn't feel like I was watching a superhero. I felt like I was watching a movie about a sidekick. Matter of fact, if you actually look at the overall arcing scenario of this movie felt like the part 2 of the 2008 version of the Incredible Hulk, and they just shoehorned Captain Black Woke America into it. It didn't really feel like I was watching a Captain America movie because there was no Captain America on it. Now, when it came to the chemistry of the people around him and Isaiah Bradley, I actually felt their chemistry. I thought that they had a very good friendship. But when it came to himself and Joaquin Torres, who happens to be the young Falcon, now the new Falcon, who happens to be a minority Hispanic because of diversity, like as if you haven't already diversified the movie by race swapping or the Captain America himself in the first instance, or giving us a bait and switch and giving us a tokenized Captain America in the first instance. They had to bring more diversity into the movie, and it just didn't work for me because their chemistry didn't really rhyme. These two people didn't really have much in common, and also the young kid was trying to be funny. There were scenes where he was trying to do things that really just didn't land, in my own personal opinion. He really was trying too hard, but it wasn't funny funny, and he was supposed to be the comic relief of this movie. Then when it came to the part of Sabra, the girl that was being protested against, that they needed to remove from the movie, the Israeli operative, the story that Disney told us that they were going to go with was not the story that they went with in this movie. They told us that he was going to be an Israeli-born American. He was going to be a first-generation American who just works for the American government, and that was going to be our story arc. That's what they told us that her story arc was going to be. But at the end of the day, she turned out to be exactly what I said. I said she was going to be another Black Widow. Right from the very first moment that we saw the trailer, I said, oh, they're bringing in another Black Widow, and they want to have that Black Widow Captain America dynamics with these two. But in this particular movie, oh no, there was not a single dynamic between them, because from what we heard when they actually tested the screen test for these two, the chemistry was so awful that I'm sure they cut out a large chunk, and this woman was just in this movie for all of about 5 to 7 minutes in all. But in those parts that she showed up, she was being a girl boss, which was just a little bit off-putting, because you see this tiny ass 5'1", 130 pounds woman flying around, kicking down, beating down 270 pounds, 6'7" men that I wouldn't even be able to take them down, and they had Uzis on them. And then there were certain scenes where some people wanted to attack, Sam Wilson, and for some reason they only had batons that had this electric shock taser thing on them, rather than actually have guns that would shoot him. I don't know why they would do that. It wasn't like as if there was an order for them to take him in alive. Then, when it comes to Giancarlo Esposito's character, Sidewinder was done super dirty. They've done it super dirty. This guy's supposed to be a very super intelligent villain in the comic books, but they just made him a simple mercenary in this particular movie who had, for whatever motivations, wanted to kill Captain America and would have even done it for free, according to him. Why? We don't know. Why? Because none of the other people in this movie's their characters were never built. Their characters' arc were never built. We don't know the history behind Sidewinder and, Sam Wilson. We don't know if he had ever arrested him, if they had ever gotten in any squabbles together before, if they dated the same woman before. We don't know anything. We just know that Giancarlo Esposito's character just hates Sam Wilson for some reason. And then, the Red Hulk, the whole story is just the same old thing. It wasn't anything special. The fight scenes were good when it came to the Red Hulk. His special effects was great. Harrison Ford was Harrison Ford as usual. There was nothing much more to Harrison Ford that actually moved the needle for me when I watched the movie. I just felt like this man is too old to be playing this kind of a character. And it's not going to last long, in terms of being able to play this character for the next 10 years, because this is the direction that they've announced to us that they want to go for the next 10 years. So I'm really not seeing a very good future when it comes to the continuation of these stories, because there was really nothing in it. They did include, tying up loose ends for the Eternals with that celestial that was growing in the middle of the Indian Ocean or whatever. And they used that to be the basis of the war between Japan and America, as if in real life Japan would ever actually try to test America in war or whatever. I don't think that was realistic. So there was a whole lot of things in this movie that was just a bunch of cluster F, and they just sewed them all together and made this Frankenstein edifice of a movie called Captain America Brave New World. So all in all, was this movie woke? Yes, it has a few woke elements, but overarchingly it wasn't woke. It was just generally lackluster. It was just generally boring, in my own personal opinion. It was a snooze fest. The political side of things was just a snooze fest. There was nothing exciting. There was nothing captivating. There was nothing thrilling. There was high octane fights, but there was nothing else. And Anthony Mackie really did not shine in this movie. So what do I give it in terms of rating? My own personal opinion, I give it a 3.5, and I believe that the 52% it has on Rotten Tomatoes is actually kind to this movie. This movie literally is just as bad as the Marvels. Trust me on that. And when it comes to the sale, just might happen to fail just as much as those other movies have failed. So these are my thoughts regarding this movie. Let me know what you think about this. Let me also know what you think about my review. Never really done a review on this channel. This is the first time I will actually make a video that's a full review on a movie. So let me know how I did. I did most of these things off the top of my head and just how I felt. So comment in the comment section below and I'll get right down there with you. You guys know how we do it. So let's just go down there and have a yarn. And don't forget to smash the like button and do the needful. Subscribe to the channel, like, share, and all those good stuff. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Peace and Sayas out. Bye-bye now.